play a little sizzle reel first before we get started. It's never been shown before. We'll see if it'll work. Did that? That's okay. This is not my computer, so. Need an expert here.
All right, there you go. Pop that there, that's it. That's it. That's it. There's no question here. This is a level of I have no idea. Something like that could exist. I have no idea. I'm Derrel Sims. I'm currently a private investigator in the state of Texas.
I don't think we have a picture.
CIA. I look for medical evidence accumulating in contact. Very heavy investigative background to investigate UFO phenomena.
Not get, you got a picture on here, but not there.
Whatever it is, it's violent.
It actually is really good. You know, it's hard to make a second good impression, you know? Get the first one and then I did that when I proposed, and that second one just didn't work out. I actually have been married for 47 years.
There's no question that there's some levels of this thing. I have no idea. Something like that could exist. I have no idea. I'm Derrel Sims. I'm currently a private investigator in the state of Texas, ex-CIA. I look for medical evidence accumulated in contact. A really heavy investigative background to investigate UFO phenomena. Whatever it is, it's biological, but their biology may be metallic and organic. We may have some of it right here. Some of the optical people are so extraterrestrial that they're so rare that they refer to them as rare meteorites in the near-light projection. When something falls, does not assist me in any way. Anything, anybody does not. Some of the people I might recommend that we look at for surgical removal of their embedded objects. One of them is a man who's got 7 objects inside, behind his ear. These people are traumatized, they've got memories that they can't recall, they don't want to do. They don't want to do. I've got echoes inside the brain, it's inside the heart. 4 little tiny screws as small as a pin at the navel. I have 2 cases that we have in routine. The reason I think that things like this should be done live is because it eliminates the objection of people. I was in a team of medical and scientific experts when we removed an alien image live on TV. But you gotta look at it and have a little bit close with you. If you're okay with that, I'll help you. But you're not going to be the same.
My computer works. Except when I'm manipulating it. Let me see if we can get this. Put all the power on it now. Cancel with their computer. The bottom line is that my interest is in physical evidence. That is not all I'm about. That's what people think I'm about. That suits me. It keeps them off of what I'm really doing and lets me do what I want to do. Does that make sense? Thank you. There's 2 of us. Oh, that's my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Now let's see if I can get this thing going.
Oh, right.
We've been on TV, all kinds of fun stuff. I'm going to go through some of these fairly quickly because it's just advertising, really. And that's my wife on the left. I just want to make sure you do. That's a tiger we rescued out of an apartment complex. I rescued a lot of animals in my life. That was one of them. And my wife rescued me, I rescued the tiger, so that's kind of the way it works. We've been married 47 years, and she is, I love her the minute I saw her, and I love her more right now. Absolutely love her. There's another Bengal tiger. Anyway, I love animals. Big into that. I'm a licensed private investigator. I'm also a professional bodyguard. I've guarded people like next vice president, Mercedes Helms, director and assistant director, deputy director, essentially Helms agency. I've been that for 2 years. Flash and process server. How many vets we got here? Right, one of you is a military police. Who's that? My military police officer in Korea with me. We were at the same time. Military police cop. Spent 2 years in Central Intelligence Agency. There's a reason for me doing this. It's not a brag session. There's a purpose to it. Some people challenge that and said you never were. You want to put $50,000 up against mine? I guarantee you I'll let. You can't call the CIA and say, tell me a list of all the people that work there secretly for you. You're not going to get a list. With that document on the right side that you can't read, I have the original. And you can pull up that with my DD Form 214, and you'll find out I've been in all kinds of interesting places. Also a master hypnotherapist. What a master hypnotherapist is a person who certifies the guy that hypnotized you. That make sense? I mean, you got to get certified by somebody. Well, I'm one of the guys that does that. So I'm also a hypnotic anesthesia therapist. Let you know that. That means we take some of our abductees into surgery in the OR, and they can go through the surgery without the general or local anesthesia, if they choose. And they'll heal up about 3 to 5 times faster, which is kind of neat. You don't have to sign your life away and that sort of thing. This is actually one of our abductees. She's getting an implant removed from her leg, and freaked the doctor completely out. I mean, he freaked out. Can't believe I'm cutting out people with literally anesthesia. I said, sir, shut up. If you think she's asleep, she's not. She hears every word you say. She's more alert than anyone in this room. She hears people in other rooms. Quiet. I'll do the talking. You do the cutting. So that's the way that went down. This is another one. This is the so-called my lab case. A guy claimed he had the government put an implant in his jaw, and I usually don't mess with a whole lot of those folks because I didn't believe his story, but you have to work on kind of everybody, because if you don't, then it looks like you're hiding something. So we removed the object from his jaw, and the voices still kept talking in his head afterward, after the medication wore off. So that'll give you all the information you need to know about that. It was low-grade lead. It was not an implant of any kind whatsoever. If I ever find a industrial,
It was a bullet.
corporate, or military, or intelligent implant with a human being, I'll be screaming bloody murder all over the internet. I'll be the first one that screams. That is not, it's inhumane, it should never happen. Never happen. This is me presenting at the John Muir Medical Hospital for 250 surgeons on medical complications of alleged human alien contact. That's a paid position for AMA-sponsored, for continuing education. So it was kind of neat. 3 doctors came on board to help us. So that was kind of neat. All they were interested in is the medical evidence. That's all. So that worked out real well. I'm a handwriting analyst. There's a reason for all this, and I'll tie it in a bow in a minute. We looked at the handwriting, and we've got several people that are going to get forms from me that wanted to go through our abduction process and look at the paperwork. About 20 pages long. You're going to fill it out by hand. No, you can't print. What do you think I'm going to be looking at when you turn it back into me? If you ever propensity to lie, exaggerate, and other things, all gonna be in there. I wouldn't fill it out if I was lying. There's no beating. So anyway, this is handwriting of a pedophile on one side and a multiple personality on the right side for you. Peter Davenport, excellent presentation. I'm telling you, he's a walking encyclopedia of ufology. I'm telling you, he's a writer. I'm not. He is. Give it up for him. And the handwriting on one of the reports, I was watching it, and I couldn't see the whole thing, but I saw the writing uphill. I mean, did you see that? You know, that one that guy was writing the report, all of it was writing uphill. That guy was really excited about and he was very upbeat about what he was writing about. It's really cool. Pretty good indication also, he may have been telling the truth. Pretty good stuff. I actually did handwriting on Robert Geronimo. It's Geronimo's son. Absolutely amazing stuff you can find out about people in their handwriting. Absolutely amazing stuff. My next presentation here next year for the workshop, I probably will do handwriting analysis for abductees and contactees. You can spot each one of them for a mile just by looking at the symbolic profile drawings that they make. You think you can't see it, but you will. They show it. It's real obvious. Somebody has been programmed. Sorry, that just shows up. Our work is philanthropic. We don't charge a penny for anything. Done 25 surgeries thus far on people. My last one being this last year in India, where we removed a lens implant from a lady who was abducted in India. They don't get charged anything for this stuff. It's all free. It's out of my pocket because I believe in phenomena and what's going on. And this is all kind of important stuff. I didn't discover implants in 1960 because I was particularly smart or brilliant or anything like that. I just happened to be awake at age 12 when they did it on me. So I remembered every bit of it. And then they said, you won't remember one bit. That's just a suggestion. You know how you break a suggestion? Get a better suggestion. Like, I want to remember. You can't hear us talk now. I can, and I did. Well, that's spying on them. Yeah, pretty neat, isn't it? I like that. That's pretty good stuff. All right, hey, give it up. That's good. Some people say, well, you're an alien hunter. That's a romanticized version of it. One of my abductees did this. Oh, that looks so cool of you. I said, yeah, but that's just not true. That's fun, but it's not true. That's what you look like for a week in the bush chasing the alien. That's the truth of it right there, dude. My suggestion is, you're going to do what I do, get a helmet, because you're going to need it. They do not like you spying on them. They don't get off to this at all. And it will make it tough. You meet the most interesting people in my business. That's at Comic-Con, actually. It's really kind of fun. I just had to do that. I don't know why. I just had to. We had all kinds of comments about underground bases and aliens or who are all these different entities who live underground. Probably true. I don't have any evidence to suggest that that's not true. But there are all kinds of interesting devices that you can see that bore underground. And one of them's got United States Air Force written on the side of it. I thought that was interesting. Yeah. Here's an underground base in Montgomery County, right outside Houston. It's for sale. An Asian fellow built it for his company many years ago, back in the 80s, I think. It'll house about 40,000 people, and I think the company went broke or whatever. But it's still for sale, as I understand. And so if you want it, it's, I'll cut you in on the deal at 5% for me. Nice, make that up. All right. We've got all kinds of evidence that we look at. This is a so-called crash UFO in another country. And they said, oh my gosh, the scientist told me, said, oh, don't you, that UFO, he said, there it is, the big, that people are looking at, and the big curved section of the saucer sticking out of this is a washed out area, okay? Water's washed that out, and there's a big saucer-like piece sticking out of it. Oh my gosh, it's a flying saucer. Been there for about a million years, probably. What if it isn't? Well, it is. And the scientists kept telling me that, and I said, doesn't look like to me. So I took a little sample of it and tested it and found out that I was, in fact, correct. I hate that when it happens. But it's not evil. But it is fascinating, and in my opinion, is part of an intelligence operation by the Soviet Union. We'll talk about that later. This is one of my abductees. Sometimes we have implants. They're magnetic. You say, well, that's pretty neat stuff. It really is. Only problem is, there's nothing metallic in her. Is that interesting? Whatever it is that's magnetic is not metallic. The magnets are on the outside of her, but nothing on the inside of her is. So this is going to be a real interesting case. Now, this is a contactee, so she thinks they're here to save time, fix it, home, all these wonderful things. So you're not going to do anything invasive to check any of that, really. But it is kind of interesting. She's got them all over her back, or in the front of her chest, and on her head as well. So, fascinating case, fascinating. Police officer case in Friendswood, outside Houston. The alien actually went through the wall and through a glass window. You can't hardly see us here. It's very difficult to see, but I actually have the glass. I paid $300 to remove it. And there's two little alien hands and an arm embedded in the glass visually. It's like a hologram where it went through. Now sometimes they're standing next to a screen, or like a window, and lightning hits, it'll actually photograph their image into the glass. That may have been what happened. A great deal of bright light behind them, like from the UFO, may have actually captured that image. I have had it tested by glass companies and all kinds of stuff. It is not a flaw of manufacturing. It is in fact something in the glass. It looks like two little hands, arms. This is one of my relatives in Oklahoma, Native American. 45% of the abductees in this phenomenon are Native American, Indian, Irish, or Celtic, basically gay. 45% of it. Absolutely. And people say, well, why is that? Well, we can go into that maybe later, but the bottom line is he tells me that the little people are down at the reservation late at night. Don't go down there. I said, what time do you think they show up? I hunt them that hunted me and later hunted my son. What time do they show up? I want to be there. I want to meet somebody. Just talk. We're going to party. So, not interested in harming anybody, so get that out of your mind if that's there. But he just freaks out when we start talking about that. I said, are you sure? Because the res is just like 100 yards from my aunt's house. So guess where I'll be next year when they show up. We'll see if that's true. Sometimes this stuff's not true. Good intentions, but not necessarily true. One of my friends is a NASA engineer. He's also an abductee. One day he came to me and he said, I was doing work at my desk, and he said, and I kind of looked up and I thought, what is wrong with this light bulb? And he found an object inside the light bulb in his apartment. I said, what did you do? He said, well, I called the FBI. He said, is there anything wrong with that? I said, that would not be my first choice. I said, what happened? And for smart people, they do some dumb things. He said, well, I gave it to them. Several weeks later, I called and said, where is it? What's the report? And they said, report on what? You know what you're talking about. I said, now you have no evidence, no report, nothing, and you're basically a liar if you bring it up. I said, don't do that anymore. Next year, he found another one. This one he kept. Thank God. At least he kept it. Abductees and contactees tend to destroy their own evidence in bulk. It's programming. You're not supposed to have any evidence. After this presentation, I'll show you what 38 years of collecting of evidence looks like. That brought some with it, even parts of UFO. Actually is. Okay. The presentation tonight is what the Navy is supposed to look like. You know, that's really a good question because, well, first of all, as soon as we get into this, I'm going to show you what a Navy doesn't look like. That kind of help. But one of the things I tell people whenever they do these pictures of aliens and stuff, first thing I do is put them on my website for all my abductees and contactees. Why is that? Because they're the only witnesses that are out there. Why would I send it to you if you have never seen one? Doesn't make any sense. You don't know. Well, I saw it on TV. That's not any evidence at all. Forget it. That's on the internet. That's worse. Forget it. It doesn't happen. Okay. How do you know so much about this? Well, I kind of wrote the book on it. I did. And it's called Evidence in Light. Evidence in the invisible light, the invisible range, marks, cuts, bruises, scars. Evidence in the infrared, ultraviolet, X-ray, MRIs, CAT scans, all of that. There are all kinds of levels of light, and that's where you ought to be looking if you're looking for evidence. If you're not looking for evidence, you don't need to worry about it. Wrote the book on implants as well. Look at the size of the thing. It's lifesaver size inside the lady's skull. It was there for a couple of years, then it moves to the other hemisphere. That's pretty wild. Now, here's one thing. I'm an abductee. She's a contactee. She thinks this is like the best thing since sliced bread. And anyway, which is fine. We're best friends. I mean, I don't have a problem with her viewpoint. That's just, there's just no big deal with that. I don't mind at all. Doesn't mean a thing. How did I know so much about this stuff? Well, I was a captive audience. 1952, age 4. And remembered my event. Caught him lying to me when I was 4 years old. If I can catch him at 4, you probably can catch him at 40. If you're 40 or 50 or 60 and you still can't catch him lying, we'll leave it right there. I would suggest if you're having an event, you might want to consider alternative methods of escape. I love this. One of my abductees sent this to me. I just love it. A lot of humor here. What aliens don't look like. This was given to me by a guy in Houston, Texas. And he says, they came in, they beamed in my backyard, 3 of them. You see all these lights? He said, you see where all 3 of those aliens are? And look at the eyes on these guys. Look at them. All lit up. They don't have big, bright, white eyes. I said, that's the light underneath the guy's face while he's holding the light down here with his back to you, so he can fool him, makes it look like he's an alien. I said, can't you see the boots he's wearing right there? I said, nice try, buddy. I said, you see that little red light goes all the way across there? I said, that is called time-lapse photography. That's the tail light on somebody's car. So I was born at night, and it was night for sure. But it wasn't last night, and I wasn't born in Texas. That is not going to work. Can I have my picture back? No, sir. You may not. You lie to me, I'll keep your evidence. Well, we should put it on the internet and show you to be a fraud. Don't bother me with these things. Another one. Guy sent me this. Says, look at that. The alien standing on the front porch. That's great. The only problem with faking this stuff is these get eyes level, so it kind of looks real. Don't do stuff like that. So that's kind of a fun one. I love this one. You see here? There's his head, there's his eyes, there's his mouth, and his nose. Oh my God, he's outside my house. What am I going to do? Nothing. Those are leaves. How long did you photograph? I've been doing this for months. I said to you, you got the leaves in the right place and look like an alien when you took the photograph. Not nice to mess with Mother Nature or with the aliens. Don't like it. And you get this kind of joke. We can put these stupid little rubber things inside jars and say, look at that, I got a reptilian alien right there in the jar. No, you don't. Oh, and poor little granny. But the guy's so bad. No, it doesn't hurt his eyes at all. In fact, has anybody ever seen a UFO that had bright lights on it? All the time. Didn't he just describe one that was so bright lit up the whole valley? Well, it hurt their little tiny eyes. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. What makes you think he has eyes? Who's got those black sunglasses? Okay. This was the worst I ever saw. I was in Italy when I first came out back in the 90s, and I said, oh my gosh. And this friend of mine showed it to me, I said, are you dumber than a bag of hammers? I said, the thing's got handles on the front of it, look at them. It's a doll, look at the fake little eyes that are glued up. What is wrong with you people? Stop doing this to me. This is a good one. I guess it's on the internet. I mean, somebody got mad at me the other day and said, I'm never going to talk to you again. I said, thank you. So see the eyes of the alien right there? This is in Egypt. I knew it. It's him in Egypt. I said, sweetie, that is a vase right there. It's a vase. These are plants coming out of there, and there's one on each side. That is like the pod, the seed pod on each side of it. It's not an alien, it's a plant. Oh no, it's not. You're a debunker. That's what you are. Okay, good. That mean you're never going to call back? I get this every few years. These are fish, and usually it comes out of Turkey or Brazil. These are fish, and they say, see that alien guy? It's only about that long, and it looks like it has a fish hook in its mouth, you know? These are just another weird looking, doesn't make them aliens. They're fish. Every few years, somebody will catch one of these, and they'll put it up on the internet as an alien being. Then you got the chupacabra thing. I have good news to report about that. They have what is called in Texas a Texas blue dog, and sometimes they call it AKA the chupacabra. I have one in my freezer. Some rancher shot it. I said, well, what makes you think it's not some kind of dog or whatever? And he said, you judge. He said, I'm giving it to you. You do your own. I said, I will. I will. I'll take it to the university and let him work on it. They're doing the necropsy. I said, so it's what's this probably title inbred with the dog. I said, I don't have any problem with that. I'm not here to make something up. And as I'm carrying it out frozen inside a sack, his horses come over and they want to look in the sack and play with it. I said, do you have any idea why the horses are interested in this thing that they should be terrified of? How many people know that the horses don't like coyotes? They don't. He said the horses were actually friendly to this thing. It slept inside the barn with horses. He said, but it ate 19 of the neighbor's cats. Okay, good. All right, whatever. So, anyway, I got this all in film. The horses are they love it. They love this thing. He said, oh, he's dead. But he said, that's okay. He said, because I've got a neighbor down the road that's an attorney. You're down for attorney here? He's an attorney, and he said he's got one right down the road. After I shot this one, he said he saw one the next night. I said, well, we're going to go down there and see if we can catch him. We're not going to kill him. We're going to see if we can catch him and see if we can tag him and find out where he roams around. So we're still looking for evidence, finding stuff all the time. How do aliens find us? Oh my gosh, they find us because there are all kinds of ideas out there. They don't need any kind of special technology. Somebody left the lights on. If you drove by Venus or something and saw the lights on, what would you think? Somebody's probably home. You don't need a landing strip. I know abductees have gone out there and literally have built landing strips for aliens. Are you nuts? They know where you're at. How do you think they found you to begin with? Wasn't an accident. There's 6 reasons they find you. There may be 600, but there's at least 6. Goodness sake. 1952, an elderly gentleman gave me this photo, 81-year-old gentleman, and I have the negative, of course. It looks like 2 UFOs out of a bad 1950s movie, is what it looks like to me. But I have the negatives, and like I said, it's quite remarkable. It still looks like a bad UFO movie to me. But there are all kinds of alien types that people describe. I call this the usual lineup. They got reptiles, they got this, they got all kinds of stuff. And then there may be a million kinds out there, I don't know, who knows. I haven't met all of them, only met a few of these guys. Know the man sky real well, know the gray, know the brown real well, know a few of these others. But anyway, that's just one. This is what my guy looked like when I was a baby. He had large black eyes, perfectly white, skinny, spindly, horrible looking. He looked like he was going to die to me, he was so skinny. It was wintertime, 1005 South K Street, Midland, Texas. And large black eyes, perfectly round. Everybody says, well, what's the difference between the round black eyes and the wraparound kind of like the Hollywood version? I said, well, theirs is a Lexus and mine's a Ford. This is like 1950. This is like a 1952 Ford. Folks, they just changed models. No, these are alien races. Maybe. But what if they're not? Well, they have to be. Who died and told you that? How do you know that? So you have to question everything. To me, that's a good idea. That's how you learn things. So maybe we're looking at 7 models. They're hatch cloned, manufactured, made, or constructed with the purpose of interaction with mankind. There are screen memories they leave in your mind. They did with me. The screen memory they left with me was he was a clown, a bad dream. They had news for you. He wasn't a clown. He was a clown. He still is a clown, but he really wasn't a clown. And sometimes with kids, they'll leave the screen memory imagery of the Michelin Tire Man or Casper the Friendly Ghost. And finally, we found a true version of the Michelin Tire Man. Which think that works? All right, abductees and contactees. If you have these experiences, you're going to fall in 1 2 categories almost immediately. You're going to think they're here to save plant, fix those on gold, and do all these wonderful things that they haven't done yet, for at least thousands of years. But they're going to do it, but not yet. Later. Okay, that sounds good to me. I call them honeybees. Honeybees are people who welcome the experience, whatever that may be, the abduction or contact experience, and that's fine. It's a valid point of view. I call them honeybees because they can't figure out the difference that the funny little man in the white suit stealing their honey is not actually a bee. He's a lot bigger than you are, and he's stealing your honey. You're still bees. Why is he getting your honey? What does he need honey for? Your stuff. What is your genetics? What is the purpose of that? The other group are people like me who are abductees. It's called abduction. I mean, if you call me when I was a police officer, somebody kidnaps your kid, I'm going to give you an argument I always get from contactees. There are good aliens and there are bad aliens. Okay. But when your kid gets kidnapped, you don't walk up to me and say, Mr. Sims, there are good kidnappers and bad kidnappers. Be real easy on the guy when you catch him. Oh my goodness, you need to find another cop. I'm not going to be nice to that guy who got your kid. So anyway, there are 2 different viewpoints, and I'm not completely convinced that both of them are viewpoints that they created in order to keep us fighting this way, so we wouldn't pay attention that way. Pretty smart plan, if you ask me. Okay. Next year, when we do a workshop, one of the things I want to do is symbolic profiles. And I'm going to have people there all in the room for all these pictures, and if you're abductees and contactees, it's going to be real obvious what you are as soon as you do the drawings. Contactees will invariably show what's happening to them, so will abductees the same way. I'll show them my own drawings, you can see it for a mile. 45% of all the people who are taking these events are Native American Indian Irish. Celtic, they are. And there are all kinds of theories about why that is. We certainly don't have time to get into it now. There's a book called UFO Danger Zone written by Rob Pratt, who Jacques Vallée says is the best book written for field notes anywhere. And the Amazonian Indians were attacked for over 10 years. I mean, shot with lasers and electronic phenomena and all kinds of stuff. They tortured these poor Indians for 10 years. The Native Americans there called them the Chupa Chupas because the UFOs came up out of the water making a sucking noise. Chupa, blood sucking, that sort of thing. That's where the term comes from. So one of my abductees made smart work for me. Someone came to me yesterday and said, I saw this orb, this light in it, and it had all this, and he started describing it, and I said, what did it do? And he said, went down the street, and it did this, and it did that, and I said, okay. I said, was it hard edge or fuzzy edge? And he said, what do you mean? I said, was it fuzzy edge, like that? He said, well, it's fuzzy heads. And I said, that's an entity in transit. He's moving. When he gets where he's supposed to be, you're going to see him appear. Next thing you see is, I saw this little alien guy running by or doing whatever. That's him in transit. As long as he's in this form, you're not going to do anything. But when he gets in 3D, he's as vulnerable to the three-dimensional world as you are. He is. We know that for a lot of reasons. Okay, sometimes you'll hear abductees say, oh, well, I couldn't see him. I couldn't see his face. No, you don't want to see his face. For whatever reason, you chose not to, or you don't need to see it. And that's okay. But if you look at the head of the entity there, it's a praying mantis. In a minute, I'll show you what a photograph of one looks like. In color. One of my abductees took it. In an abduction encounter. And the grave is in there too. Just kind of a fun picture to look at. On board the ship, I'll often ask the question, did you see anybody else there? Well, I saw these three little guys, then this other guy was standing there and he was cutting on me or doing whatever he was doing. That's okay. Was there anybody else there? I didn't see anybody. I said, I didn't ask you that. You're dealing with the abductee and contactee's brain. You have to help them. I don't mean to give them suggestions to help them see stuff that isn't there. Did you sense in any way someone else on board the craft? Yes. The guy that's hidden, he won't come out and show himself. This happens a lot. This guy hides out all the time. For whatever reason, he does not want to be seen or known. These guys call the shots of the craft in many cases. This lady claims, she says, all my events were positive. I never had a negative experience in my life, and I think you're insane, and everyone else who says that there are any negative experiences, you're all insane. I said, okay. The problem is there was a 17-year-old boy who was standing over here watching her entire event, and he painted the picture. I said, please don't show that to her. She doesn't want to know, and that's okay. That's all right. I don't have a problem with that. I want to know, but she doesn't need to know. It's not important. So she kept screaming all the time, leave my brother alone, because he was there too. So, anyway, she has no recollection of all of that. Some of the entities that show up look like the Mothman and red eyes and all this stuff. And sometimes some of the things they do or even affect the whole city, as happened in this case. So who knows what all these entities are or where they're all from, but this is just some of the ones that reported. The gray entity, of course, with large black eyes, which we think is in fact a lens covering his eyes. Some are friendly, some are not. It depends on the program they're running on you. If they're told, make him love us, you will. Or put fear in that one over there. They will, with equal enthusiasm. You know why? Because it's just their job. That's what they do. They're ordered to do it. They live in a society that's nothing like what you and I understand. It's you can't apply human logic to what they're up to and get it. It's not going to work that way. There are different drawings that people have of them. Some look even weirder or stranger. The Varzina alien actually caught several of these guys. The military police officer chased one of them down, caught him, held him, and he died a short period later from the caustic effects of the chemistry inside this entity. Now the UFO people drew him and made him look like a beautiful lady. I love the way we clean this stuff up sometimes. That's what he really looked like. Because that's a statue of him in the city of Brasília, Brazil, in that little fountain there. What do you need 4-inch claws flying saucer? I'm sure there's some high-tech reason for that, but I'm not sure what it is yet. That's what the UFO people tried to make him look like. But that's not what he showed up as. Notice that he had 3 little bumps on his head. We did some research and found that there was a master that was born in northern Africa by this tribe 5,000 years prior. He had his 3 little bumps on his head for the ones that came down from the skies. So I guess it's to establish a relationship with them, of course. These are handprints that we have from various entities. Some of them we have in fluorescence, some of the DNA we actually do have. And I'll show some of that to you. It's in that case right there. As soon as I finish the presentation. We did find out one thing. We found out where all socks go. This is a great truth in all of ufology. We did find that out. And I've been looking for them for years. And I thought it was a government conspiracy. It's not. Now we know. Here's a funny one. I'm going to tell on MUFON, and these are MUFON's my buddies, don't get me wrong. I do a lot of presentation with MUFON. They sent me this guy out of LA, I think because they thought he was nuts. Well, you preserve your people, why don't you fix it? Thank you. So I talked to the guy, and he was all excited. He had committed himself to a psychiatric hospital. I said, how did you do that? He said, well, because all this stuff can't be true. I said, you're just being honest. I said, you got everybody thinking you're nuts. Well, I must be, because none of this can be true. I said, everything happens to be the truth. Every bit of it appears to be totally true. A few weeks later, his friend borrows his car without permission, runs a red light. You know what happens to run a red light in LA? Click. $350. Send your money in or cash, or you come to court and try to fight it. But there's a picture of the guy that was driving the car. Anyway, he told me about this, and I said, what? He said, there's an alien in the back seat. Right there, see? Thank you, City of Los Angeles. And thank you, MUFON, for sending me the nut that wasn't nuts. They gave me a picture of an alien in the back seat abducting this man in his car. I like that kind of evidence. Works for me every time. Now this is the fun one you're going to kind of like. I believe you like it. This is I'm going to show you, I'm going to go back and forth between this. This is the alien's head here. You see a large head here, mouth downturned, large black eye, protuberance on his head. Let me show you what it looks like in the drawing. That's what you're looking at. See him back there again? Right there? Okay? Now here's what I really want you to see. This photograph was taken during an abduction. The whole story is amazing. This is like 1993, an illegal alien's home. You can't call the police because of what? They're going to get deported. So they're seeing stuff around the house that scared them to half to death. They call a friend of mine who's a surgical nurse. She shows up 2:30 in the morning with a camera. How many people are going to do that? Wow, I'm so proud of her. She's inside the house. They see movement outside. The family's freaking completely out. They don't know what they think. Who knows what that is, ghost or whatever it is. They're not ghosts. She sees that going on, and she sees movement, so she goes, flash, hits the camera, and of course this is the blowback on the flash. That's okay, because they photographed the alien here, but if you look at him carefully, you see his arm here, and there's his little hand, and there's his other one up here. This is called a defensive position. You know why? Because this guy, see the head on this one right here? Now, I have the 8x10 photo picture over there if you want to see it. It's real clear. This is a mantis being knocking this guy down, trying to get to whoever's inside the door before they can snap that picture. They don't like their picture taken at all. And the problem is, she got him, and I have the negatives. Wow. What a lady. I am so proud of her, and I just can't understand it. I love people like that. There's another entity outside the house. I got him too. This is kind of interesting. The little girl, the father sent me this picture. We blocked her face out. He said, you don't need to. He said, you have permission to visit. There's an entity right there, right behind him. I said, do you know anything about this? He said, oh, we've known about him for years, but we never could photograph him. He doesn't like to be photographed. But one day he made a mistake, peeked his head out around her while we were photographing her. I said, okay. I said, you don't mind my photo people take that? And they said, no, go ahead. I said, we're going to work on it. And so you can kind of see him there peeking around her. There's her hair. And there he is. And we'll look at him a couple other ways. There he is again. There he is bigger. And there's even a drawing of him. What's really weird about him, I don't understand this at all. That looks almost like eyelashes. I don't know what that's all about. Really weird stuff. We're also looking for all kinds of DNA evidence for, in this particular case, the lady was sexually assaulted by a quote-unquote alien myth. I don't know whether it's true or not, I wasn't there. But the story and the individual's credibility was such that I thought I would certainly test and look for it, see if there's any DNA evidence. I had her send me the bedspread, the sheets, the pillowcase. She says, why the pillowcase? That's because if he drools, I want his DNA. I want all of it. So that's kind of important stuff. I always want to know about old cases of any kind of DNA, because we want to compare stuff, like see how old some of this stuff is. This is the King Tut's tomb, that probably King Tut's child that died 6 inches long. But who's this guy laying next to him with large black eyes? I don't know. I sure would love to get a piece of DNA from that. There is an American scientist that's looking into that. This is the goddess Iana, large black eyes. Makes you wonder who she really was. This is a guy I call the fetus stealer. Look, I was looking through my flip charts over there, which I assembled together like we do in police work. You assemble your own alien. And the fun thing about that is everybody, they're laughing. 55% of your communication is your physiology. When you get to the right one, you'll have a visceral response to it. And that's good to know. This guy here, one of the people thought was a fake. He's not, actually not. He, the last time the lady saw him, he was dragging her daughter down the hallway by the ankle while she was paralyzed in her bed. And she does not have a very high opinion of his work. Yet also, the last time I met her, he had stolen her fetus. And I got there about 3 hours late. She's a wonderful, very moral Roman Catholic lady. And she said, Mr. Sims, I do not believe in abortion in any way, shape, or form. She said, I'll tell you one thing. If I ever come up pregnant again, she said, whatever your medical people want to do, the fetus is yours. She says, but I assure you, it certainly isn't mine. So there are people, and we did have this one case where the fetus showed up inside the sonogram. It appears to be alien. This was looked at by people in, I say people, a fetal hospital in England. And they did a real good job of it. I was really impressed with their work. I'm going to give you a couple of little quick stories about births by the quote-unquote alien, where they do artificial insemination on these women. We do have a case out of Houston, Texas, in which 4 nurses in an enclosed area, glassed-in enclosed area. This is a area that's protected, it's under film and everything. All of the people that night that were in that room, all the women, including the lesbian woman who was in coma, all ended up pregnant. Every one of them. The camera stopped at the exact appropriate time. And I'm telling you, this story is amazing. I met the daughter. This was a case 15 years ago. I met the daughter of one of the people who had the child. You met an alien child? No, she's not alien. Listen, what are the 2 things they always take whenever they come after a husband, a man and woman? They generally take genetic material. Eggs and, what do you think they're doing with that? Yeah. Well, they're making alien babies. Right, they could be, it's possible. But the fact is, some of these people are being artificially inseminated are having very normal children. They're very selective about who they want to have these kids and why. I have my own ideas about that, but I don't know that, I don't know if I can get this to play or not. We'll try and see. I have permission to show this, by the way. This is I don't know if it's going to play or not, but I'll just tell you about it. This is called a call birth. I don't think it's going to show. I don't think it's going to show. Anyway, this is a baby that's born with a sheath, in a sheath, okay? And there are actually several famous people that have been born this way, and there are all kinds of theories that, you know, it's a good thing, it's a bad thing, or whatever. But the fact is, it's a very rare birth. What's interesting about this one is it happened in Houston, Texas. I know the lady that's one of my abductees. She's had so many gynecological issues in the UFO phenomenon that, yeah, I don't think it's going to play. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That's fine. I'll tell you about it. And it is quite fascinating. He's born in a sheath, and you're looking at the film, and it's absolutely amazing. I mean, the baby's living there. It's like he finally passed away, but the point is, he's alive, full term, almost full term. And you say, well, what's so unusual about that? He's born in a sheath, so what? It's rare, but it's not impossible. That's true. She doesn't have a womb. You ladies know that's vaporous to us guys. Weird. So that's a problem, a little bit of a problem. But we've been studying this for quite a while, and have some reasonably good evidence that these guys are up to stuff that you and I may not have thought about before. This one I found on the internet a while back. I sent a letter to the investigator involved, and he found this alien hand and all that. And they did some x-rays, and I still haven't got an answer back from him because I've got all kinds of questions. And I've never seen an alien fingernail before, but there's extra joints in his hands, whatever it is. It's kind of interesting, to say the least. But I'm not sure. He's going to do DNA testing. I haven't even heard back from him yet, so that doesn't impress me at all. In ancient times, there were these guys, these were called chimera, and basically what they are, they're mixtures of 2 or 3 different things. And of course, these are the things of legends, which of course are not true at all, unless of course they are. So, well, chimera in the past, and these we half goat, half man. I mean, this is not possible. None of this is really true, of course. However, historically, there are illustrations of the fact some of these guys were real. Absolutely. One of the best illustrations I can give you, in my opinion, and this is strictly an opinion, nothing I can prove, is Horus, Anubis, these little Egyptian guys here. And you say, well, those are just gods they made up. What if they didn't? Well, they must have. What if they didn't? What if these, in fact, are chimera? The temple where these guys would show up once a year with only Pharaoh present is about like 20 foot. I mean, the ceilings were huge. I suspect these are the guys that showed up. Again, it's easy for us to say, well, none of that existed. Those are just things in their mind, and that was just Egyptian. I don't think that's the case. I think there's more to that story. We're still digging on that. One of my abductees, Linda Taylor's now deceased, came to me crying one night and said, oh, they're going to get my children. They said if I give you any more information, they're going to get my kids. I said, that sounds like a threat. Why would somebody from a higher consciousness want to threaten me for some poor defenseless woman and her kids? I said, so what do you think they're going to do? And I said, you think they're going to get your kids anyway? She said, yes. I said, then, okay, let's go get them. So I developed a specialized system for her to defend herself. When her captor came about a month and a half later, she tore his eye cover off. Asked me why. I think it's cosmic sunglasses. So I'm not a very strong woman. I couldn't do better than that. He came back a couple of months later, but there were a bunch of us this time, 3 or 4 other little guys, and the boss came with the doctor type. But it took all of them to pry that thing out of her hand, one on each finger. That's how many of it took to get that thing out of her hand. Because I wanted her to bring Freddy Krueger's hat back out of the dream. You know what I'm talking about? I believe her story. I want Freddy Krueger's hat. I think he's real. We got to come back with stuff. And I don't just mean an implant in you, I want something off of him. I would like to have that. That would be nice. And what we found, before you conspiracists get on to me, well, that's because he was a reptile, he was doing this, he was part of the government program. No. This is what we didn't find when she tore the eye cover off. What we did find was something totally different. We found a red stippled screen with 5 little lines running back and forth, as if it in fact were a like a computer tech in the eye, which would indicate this particular guy, not all of them in my opinion, this particular guy probably was biomechanical, which answers a lot of other questions we've had with certain abductee stories. And after 1,950 cases worldwide, I think I've heard just about all of them several times. We have a weird situation that happened in Houston, Texas, back 25 years ago. This little gal take her fake bouffant wig off and her sunglasses. Boy, she looked just like an angel. Yeah, and she drove a Ford Escort. I had one of my the lady that she harassed every day on the way to work and on the way back to work every day. And a psychic, by the way, who was a contactee, not an abductee. She said, why does she keep doing this? So anyway, long story short, I found the license plate on the car that this woman, this whatever she is, we have this what I call a woman in black. And I got the license plate, I ran the plate, and I found that it's plate stolen out of Dallas, Texas. Now that was curious to me. Then after a few years, she disappears. We don't hear from her anymore. Then I get a case from a former assistant attorney general of a particular state. He's an abductee. He's also a military guy, and he's also he was present when the UFOs came over and were his nuke base. I mean, the whole thing is incredible. Great story. And so we talked for a while, and finally I said, when are you going to tell me the rest of the story? So what do you mean? I says, I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. You're not telling me the whole story. Well, there's this woman that I didn't know, it makes me sound like I'm crazy. I said, just tell me the story. It's okay. And he starts describing her in Dallas, Texas, with the license plate stolen. Interesting. He said, but it makes me sound like I'm crazy. I said, just talk to me. I don't make judgments. Just talk to me. I'm telling you, this is amazing. He goes on TV, and I went ahead and worked with him and explained the difference between recall and memory. Recall is what the alien wants you to think happened that didn't. Missed an entire man, whatever whopper you need for your consciousness, versus what really happened. They don't like for you to remember a lot of stuff. So anyway, he starts describing the all kinds of stuff under hypnosis, and I explained to them the difference on TV, the difference between recall and memory. I said, if you don't understand this, I said, the hypnotist will hypnotize these people and they'll recall, and what he's doing is basically hypnotizing their screen memory. That makes sense? I told John Mack the same thing. He said, why do I always get these contactees? I said, I get both. He said, but I almost always get contactees. I said, because you're hypnotizing their screensaver. Don, I said, you're not getting the memory. That's what's going on. Think about it. So anyway, long story short is she's busy now, and she is telling him all about their children. Our children. His wife wakes up one night, and she is standing in the bedroom, and she looks at her and says, "Go back to sleep." And of course she goes, falls over. The wife is now real interested because she's coming forward telling the rest of the story of what she knows all about her. So it's a fascinating story. The credibility of this guy is impeccable, impeachable. I mean, an assistant attorney general, that doesn't get any better than that for that piece of contact. Now, if you go to the internet and type in the word transgenic in Google, and then hit images, you're going to get a mouse, mouse with a human ear on it. All kinds of weird little things that scientists are doing. They're taking pig DNA and human DNA and having all kinds of fun with it. All that Crimea stuff I told you about in the past, all legend. It wasn't then and it's not now. They're already doing it. Not the little stuff you see here, it's worse than that. They're already doing it with the humans. Wow. What's wrong with that? If you can't figure it out, I'm not going to help you. One of the things I may do the next presentation when I come back here is I may do a presentation on animal and human mutilations. One lady told me, she said, "Oh, I know all about that." And I said, "Sweetie, I'm not talking about stuff you're going to find on the internet. I'm talking about real cases that we really investigate." As one lady was skinned alive in her own bed. It's an elderly lady. Another one's eyes were surgically removed. Little children found this guy. I said, "Give me a break." I said, "My point is not to scare people. It's simply to let you know it's all about what's happening. Make your own decision. Make your own judgment. That's your business. But you should be informed. And only wanting to know certain things about the phenomena doesn't, like this creature here that washed up on the beach. What in the world is that? Well, I'm sure it's just an anomaly, a birth defect. Yeah, like some of the cattle mutilations they had with the calf inside the mutilation had a human head in it. Why is that? Well, I'm glad you asked. And then they later found another one that was a goat with a human head. Well, it's impossible. There's no such thing as stuff with mythology. Yeah, I know. That's what I thought. It might be different. So there may be all kinds of stuff going on. As I begin to close here, Jerry Pippin, a friend of mine that passed away, who knew for ufology, we were doing an interview and Stan Creek was sitting out in front of us right here, and I thought I want to have some fun with Jerry. I said, "Jerry, I'm going to show you some pictures." I said, "You cannot describe them to anyone now or later, but I will show them to you privately. And we'll hide above everybody else so they can't see." He said, "Okay." So I started showing him these pictures of these alien bodies. They're not on the internet. And he's like, it was priceless to look at his face. Priceless. So, we do have evidence. It is out there. Like I said, I did write the book on it. And some of the things we find, and some of these things are like these little gold spheres. I'm going to show those to you in a minute. You're going to have to use my magnifying glass to see them because they're located for electron microscopy on a little tiny mounting, and they're about the size of pinheads that came out of a little girl's nose, 4 of them on 2 different occasions. We have them studied by York University under the care of Dr. Nick Balakis and a tenured metallurgy professor who didn't believe any of this stuff. That's a bunch of bull. The proof not there. After, as soon as he looks at it, calls me privately and says, "What do you think they were doing with these things? Why, it looks like a little tiny moon with craters. What would they do? What is that for?" And I said, I suspect they're putting a liquid material in there, in the craters and everything, and it will dispense it slower over a period of time. And they're so small, you sneeze them out, you'll never even know they're there when it's finished. He said, "Oh my gosh." The tenured professor didn't believe in anything the day before. It's great stuff. One of the things I'll also show you is a whole bunch of these little square implants. 3 people called me this week, that one week, and said, "Oh my God, I've been abducted by these military people. They're trying to kill me." And he's a conspiracy guy. And I said, wait a minute, before we do all that, before we start accusing the United States government of these heinous crimes they may or may not have committed, let's find out what happened. "Oh, these implants are out of my mouth." I said, "Well, how did you know the government did that?" "Well, I had to." "Okay. Good. Still got it?" "Yes." "Okay. When did it happen?" "So, right after I went to bed, I started getting to feel sick. It was awful, horrible taste in my mouth." And I said, "So that's what a government implant tastes like. Horrible taste in your mouth after you brush your teeth." Why am I not believing this story is completely accurate? I think he's telling the truth, but I just don't think he's got it down right. I said, "Okay." And a lady called me in Houston, same week. She said, oh my God, the square things in my mouth. I said, okay, good. Could you send them to me? He said, yes. Don't steal my implants now. I said, I promise I won't. Send them all back to you, photograph them, and you can have them all back. I don't care. So I went down to the flea market the next morning, Saturday morning, got me a bunch of toothbrushes. Broke open the toothbrushes, cut them open. Guess what holds those little bristles in there? The same little implants. I asked everybody the same question. There's 3 people. Do you use an old toothbrush? Oh yeah, it's ancient. Well, why did I get sick? I said, because the things were probably in your mouth all night long, and they rust almost immediately. It's we're the lowest grade metal you can put in your mouth. Anyway, that's what they were. They were not alien implants. So, sorry. This is Ben Foggin. He gave me a piece of his UFO metal. UFO ejected some metal right in front of his family, and everybody landed on the ground. Boom. Right there. Well, that's fake. Yeah, well, he did a real good fake job because he put some strontium in it, and you don't go downtown and buy strontium and put it inside a pretty unusual aluminum. You just don't do that. Not readily available. Anyway, he gave me a piece of his UFO, and this is one of the display boxes we have for evidence. If you're abducted, you don't need to whine about it. In 99% of cases, you're going to come back okay. You'll be fine. It'll be all right. I like the little guy inside the mountain. You'll be okay. 99% of everybody comes back all right. Some don't, but almost everybody does. And that's okay. You may even metamorphosize and change and do some great, wonderful thing on top of all that from your experience. That you may come out better for that. I got to tell you, this coming week is the Houston Livestock Rodeo Show. Me and my wife will be there. Absolutely enjoy it. And this is where you can find me if you need me. My cards are on the table. After I finish this in just about 30 seconds, I'll have the implants and other evidence over there. You're welcome to go over and take all the pictures you want. It's free. I don't mind at all. Thank you.